I would like to welcome all of you to Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Some of you may be thinking, breaking? Are you going to break me apart and tear me up? That is not what today is about. Today is about you. Today is about identifying the kind of life that you would like to live. What are the type of results that you would like to have at work and in all areas of your life? What are the kind of relationships that you would like to have at work and in all areas of your life? Today is about understanding and being aware of what kind of habits do we have that may be preventing us from being able to have the kind of life that we want. That is what today is all about. The intent is to have a fun, safe learning environment where you can really focus on yourself and create the kind of life and the reality that you would like to have. The class that we will be teaching is based on the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Dispenza is a neuroscientist, he's an author, he's an international lecturer and speaker, and he's a chiropractor. And we are using the work and the models of Dr. Joe Dispenza in terms of teaching the workshop, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. For those of you that were not familiar with Dr. Joe, you will have a chance to get to know him throughout the day, because we are going to be dialing him in through a lot of videos that we have. Whether you're familiar with him or not, it won't make a difference in terms of how the training is going to go today. Before we get into the class itself, I would like to talk about some logistics. This class is scheduled to go from 8 to 5. We will take 1 hour for lunch around noon today. We will also have a couple of breaks in the morning, a couple of breaks in the afternoon. In terms of in the environment, I want you to please make yourself as comfortable as you can. Relax and do whatever you need to do to be very present and engaged. If you need to get up and get some water, and we have cookies or coffee, or if you need to go to the restroom, anything that you need, feel as comfortable as you can. That's important. Do you have any logistical questions? Okay. So now let's talk about the material that you have. Each one of you have in front several items. First of all, you may recognize that you have Dr. Joe's newest book, a copy of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. This class is based on this book, so it correlates with all the information that we will be teaching. You also have your workbook. This workbook is designed to serve 3 purposes. The first purpose of this workbook, this is a tool that you can follow along during the class. As we go along throughout the day and we do activities and exercises, I'm going to encourage everybody to write in this workbook. Some people who are receiving a nice book like this one, they don't want to mark it or write on it. I'm going to request that this is the first habit to break. Please break that habit right away and start writing on your notebook, on your workbook. We know that people learn and remember when writing things down. You may want to put your name on the first page so it doesn't get confused with everybody else's. Did all of you break your habit? Does anyone need a pen? No excuses. The second purpose that we designed this workbook for is this is a summary of information. We're going to be learning a lot today. At some point, you may feel that you're getting so much information in these videos that you're going to be thinking, oh my God, how am I going to write everything down? When listening to the videos, I want you to relax and listen to what Dr. Joe is sharing instead of thinking, oh, am I going to write all this stuff? We summarized everything that he's going to cover and we wrote all the main points in this workbook. This book is meant for you to engage in the activities as well as for you to be able to follow along and to have all the information. The third way that we're going to be using this workbook is as a post-class tool. You may also want to go back to this workbook and do some of the post-course applications activities that we have. It is meant to be used during the class as well as after the class. The second part of the workbook, the other little book that you have in front of you, is a post-class application. We have a challenge that is called the 30 Days Challenge to Becoming a Genius, for you to practice everything that we are learning, that we're going to be learning today, so you can journal every day. Does anyone have a question? Okay. The last thing that I want to talk about briefly is about the modalities that we're going to use for training. We have different modalities. One of them is that we're going to have Dr. Joe joining us throughout the class with the videos that we spoke about. Every time that we're going to learn something that has a little bit more complexity to it, or do we just want to bring the expert to tell us about it, we're going to dial Dr. Joe in so he can share with all of us. We will have some videos that we're going to use. We're going to be doing a lot of exercises and activities. We have an exercise that is called Breaking Your Habit. Early in the class, within a couple of hours, you will be identifying something that you would like to work, either at work or in your personal life, and you will be applying everything that we're learning throughout the class in breaking that habit. We will also use some small group discussions as well as a complete group discussion. These are the modalities that we will use, and this is what you can expect. The last thing that I want to talk about are the rules of engagement, because this is about each of us engaging and participating in the class. My goal, and hopefully your goal, is to engage and to be learning and participating. I want to ask you at this point, what is it that is important to you that I do as a facilitator and that your classmates do as participants to really make this a fun and engaging day for you? Tell me what is important to you. Laughter, very good. Interaction, participation, attention. You want to move, we're gonna move. Respect, listening, that's very important. Asking questions, very important. Cell phones, yes, I'm going to request for you to please have them off or have them in mute. Listening, you were talking about listening. Some of the greater impact that we get comes from the other people in the room. So listening is a very good quality to have today. Okay, I want you to listen up a little, just to loosen up a little, to relax and stand up. Now we're going to start this program by giving you a quick introduction to Dr. Joe Dispenza in one of the ways that most people are familiar with him, which is giving lectures to large groups around the world. We're going to dial into Dr. Joe now. Okay, now we're going to have the opportunity to work on breaking your habit. In this part of the training, we will identify something that you want to work on for the rest of the day. We're going to apply everything that we have learned, and we will keep applying everything that we will keep learning into breaking that specific habit that you want as part of the new you that you are creating. At the end of our day today, we will bring all this knowledge together when we do what we call our mental rehearsal. I am going to ask you to do two things. The first thing is to think about something that you want to change about yourself, and this is on page 45. It could be a habit. Do you remember our definition of a habit on page 5? We said a habit is a recurring, often unconscious pattern of behaviors, thoughts, or feelings that is acquired through frequent repetition. We may want to change an emotion, an attitude, a personality trait. It is important that this is something that you want to change versus something that someone else thinks that you should change. Do you remember when we talked earlier about how to change our reality on page 14, the old and the new? This will be a new choice. This is the new choice of who you want to be, your new self. We will be working on your choice based on the different knowledge that we have been acquired and that we will be acquired. The second thing that I want to ask you is to please stand up. You can leave your workbooks on the table, and please, all of you, just come to the center here. Just imagine this is a circle here, and just walk around without leaving the circle. I just want you to move and stretch and walk, and while you walk around, I would like you to select someone that you would like to have as your practice partner for the rest of our time together when it comes to breaking your habit. Every time that we learn something new to breaking your habit, you're going to partner up with this person, and you two will meet, and you can go to the corner, you can go to the other room, and the idea is for you to have a one-on-one time with this person. But before you select that partner, walk around this circle. Okay. And now go ahead and select your partner, please. It doesn't have to be the person that you were sitting next to or the person that you came with. The habit that you're going to be working on is going to be private. We're not going to be sharing this with the class, only with your partner. Of course, if you want, you can ask questions about it and you can share with the class if you want. But if you don't want to, it's not necessary. For the most part, you're going to be writing, you're journaling, you're going to be talking with your partner. Make sure that you feel safe and comfortable selecting on what you are going to work on. So I want you to go to pages 45 to 47, and we're going to take about 10 minutes to answer the questions from page 45 to 47. And I would like you to end with giving yourself a self-rating on page 47. On a scale from 1 to 4, how committed do you feel right now to make this change? So once you have completed all of these questions individually, then we're going to check with your partner, and then the two of you can get together and go outside or wherever you choose. Just please don't go so far so we can all get back together easy. You can start now, and in about 8 minutes, I'm going to check with the group before we have people break off, okay? Do you have any questions? Okay, let's begin. Now we're going to move to our 3 brains. I know that we just had lunch and you may be thinking, oh no, this is not the best time for anatomy. Don't worry. We're going to make this very, very, very easy. The purpose of teaching you about our 3 brains and how they work is not so you become a neuroscientist or a neuroanatomist or to do brain surgery. That is not what this is about. I like analogies. When you're learning how to ride a bike, you don't have to understand every little detail. You just need to learn, this is where I sit, this is where I put my hands, and when I put my hands I can steer, and then I can brake, and this is where I pedal. You learn how everything works together, and then you're ready to practice. When we talk about the 3 brains, we're not going to go into the anatomy. We're going to look at how our 3 brains work together so we can practice later. If you turn to page 49 in your workbook, you will see that from pages 49 to 59, there is a summary. All the information that Dr. Joe is going to present in the next videos is here. He's going to talk about our three brains, the neocortex, the limbic or emotional brain, and the cerebellum. He also is going to talk about the Hebbian laws, the concept of our neural networks and how they work. And what I expect from you as a participant is just to relax and to listen and to have a sense of how all this works together so you can practice later. There was a research that Dr. Joe talks about sometimes regarding working with math students. They were going to take a math score, and beforehand they divided the group into two groups. To one group, they taught about some study skills in terms of how to study and how to increase their mathematical abilities. And when they tested them, they saw some marginal increments. They took the second group and taught them the same skills and the same tools, but they also added another dimension. They taught them how the brain works. They gave them a visual image of what is going on inside their brain when they learn, when they acquire new information, what happens to it, how do we embody it, how does the really repetition work. The students who understood how the brain worked had higher improvements in their math skills. Sometimes understanding how things work can give us that advantage. Now we will listen about our three brains. The video that I'm going to show you next is about 12 to 13 minutes, so you just please sit back and relax and enjoy it. Don't worry, there is not going to be a medical exam at the end.